This coffee is called Kopi Luwak.
Kopi Luwak.
Kopi Luwak is a coffee bean that was first encountered in the 19th century, during the colonial occupation of the Netherlands over Indonesia. Today, Kopi Luwak costs around $300 a pound. Despite its popularity, Starbucks, for example, has refused to sell Kopi Luwak in their stores. What is the issue with this coffee? Since its discovery, this coffee has gained a lot of attention, but also has faced a lot of controversies. Why? This is a story of colonialism, modern animal abuse, and coffee counterfeit. Today, you are going to discover how an animal lost in Asia is able to transform this into this, the most expensive coffee in the world. In the 19th century, Holland occupied Indonesia. Because of the favorable weather, Indonesia was a very good place to grow coffee beans. Brazil had emerged as a dominant force in the global coffee market. And Holland, recognizing the economic potential of coffee, implemented a system known as the cultivation system. Under this system, local farmers were obliged to set aside a portion of their land only for coffee cultivation. So the Dutch obliged the indigenous to cultivate coffee for them. Over 1 million Indonesians ended up working on coffee lands. Holland was driven by a desire to exploit Indonesia's wealth and resources. Besides Indonesia, Holland had colonies in other parts of the world, including the Dutch Caribbean islands, parts of South Africa, and territories in Southeast Asia like New Guinea. Through military actions, the Dutch took control of the area. The type of coffee the Dutch grew during this Indonesian colonial period was primarily Arabica. The popularity of Indonesian coffee in the global markets grew very quickly. The Dutch needed more coffee and more workers to supply their demand. Dutch plantation owners were rigid, grueling, and very demanding. So imagine how they reacted when they heard that. During the nights of harvesting, farmers started noticing civets eating their crops. Through the expansion of coffee plantations, civets found themselves in front of a new type of food, coffee cherries. But what exactly is a civet? Civets are found in Southeast Asia, most of them in Indonesia. Civets have a long tail like a monkey, face markings like a raccoon, and stripes in its body like a tiger. They enjoy living alone, moving at night, and making dull noises. Dutch plantation owners would not accept Indonesians to stay still against civets stealing their business. Local indigenous trying to find a solution for the robberies of these little animals discovered something. When eating the crops, civets were leaving droppings behind. Quickly, local farmers realized civets' excrements were not normal. Civets were popping coffee beans. The Dutch colonials were taking all the coffee production off the hands of Indonesian people. So these civet-pooped beans was the only coffee available for them to consume. Local indigenous were happily surprised. This coffee had a very unique taste. When the Dutch tried Civet coffee, they found it had a smoother and more luxurious taste compared to regular coffee. It quickly grew in popularity. Civet coffee beans became a local delicacy. To really understand what Kopi Luwak is, we need to start by understanding how regular coffee is produced. Coffee beans are actually not beans. Instead, they are seeds that are inside cherries like these. All coffee beans are stored inside these cherries. To make coffee out of these cherries, farmers need to ferment them, dry them, and mill them. But when civets eat the cherries, the process becomes much easier. Thanks to their unique smell capabilities, civets pick the choicest coffee cherries to eat. They have a special talent to choose the best ones. Civets are unique coffee cherry experts. This is what makes Kopi Luwak so special. After the civets eat the coffee cherries, the cherry's pulp is digested in the civet's stomach. While the beans pass through the digestive system, the beans enhance their flavor. After the civet excretes the beans, they are collected from the feces, cleaned and processed. They are ready to sell. The growth of coffee cultivations led to the development of Indonesia. The Dutch invested a lot of money in the country. Roads, railways, and shipping lines were built to facilitate exports. And when the Dutch were forced to leave in 1942, leaving aside the abuse, the torture of Indonesian slavery, and the 100,000 executions, they left behind a better place from what they had found. Kopi Luwak was left to the Indonesian. Kopi Luwak did not get worldwide notoriety until the early 2000s, when Hollywood grabbed a hold of it.
Kopi Luwak is the world's most expensive coffee, though for some it falls under the category of too good to be true. In the Sumatran village where the beans are grown lives a breed of wild tree cat. These cats eat the beans, digest.
The way a civet is raised is crucial for the quality of the coffee, with civet coffee gaining in popularity and Indonesia growing as a tourist destination. Wild civets are now majoritarily confined in cages. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the population of civet is estimated to be fewer than 250 mature individuals. Civets are limited and producers want to secure productions. A growing number of civets are kept in unsanitary cages instead of left free, and coffee companies as well as animal associations are worried. Another study performed in 2023 suggested that 70% of Kopi Luwak sold in the world is not real. For consumers, it has become impossible to differentiate one coffee bean from another. The falsification has resulted in the international coffee market being flooded with fake civet coffee products, and customers are paying $300 per pound of Kopi Luwak. On the other side, animal associations are growing in the fight against the civet's captivity. Despite the controversy, Kopi Luwak is still considered by many as the holy grail of coffee. The story of Kopi Luwak is the story of colonial abuse and now animal abuse. Civet coffee is best left as a historic tale of human-animal encounter. Hope you like the story of today. Remember, the more you subscribe, the more resources we will have to improve the editing of the videos. Leave your thoughts down below and comment what you would like to see in the next videos.